So we're taking you through the grid, how they all line up, and are now off onto their formation lap for this 30th anniversary for the fastest Mini in the world. It started back in this month, actually, 1994 at Silverstone, and on that very first event it did muster up some 26 cars, and since then it has been running very strongly indeed. Harvey Deeth has been now winner of the fastest Mini in the world on 5 occasions in the last 12 years, so he did the triple effectively. We had a year without due to COVID, so 2019, 2021, 2022 were all back to back, and he won it previously back in 2015 as well. So Harvey Deeth is definitely the man to beat in this. Previous winners also include Richard Billingham, who won in 2023. He is not here, unfortunately, today. He was out yesterday in qualifying, but Richard Billingham has suffered some ill fate with his car, unfortunately. Aaron Smith, who we've already seen out this weekend in his Mini Championship, was also a winner in 2018. Chris Slade has been a winner back in 2017. And Bill Richards, who was on the entry list for this one, he unfortunately is not here as well. He was a retirement, was Bill Richards, so he was no longer, but he was a winner, as we said, back in 2016. And we had Martin and Richard Wager, who are still strong supporters and racers in Mini. They were victorious back in 2014. So that gives you a little bit of a backstory on this race. And after the earlier one, we're in for another great contest of 15 minutes, because the cars are about to work their way onto the start-finish line. The red lights are on for what's going to be a rolling start, and Harvey Deeth is just creeping ahead of the rest of the pack, but now he accelerates away from the line and heads down towards the first corner. And already Matthew Howard's lost second place, because the Silver car has gone up into second position as they turn now in towards Paddock Hill Bend, and De Silva might even be looking to challenge here Harvey Deeth for the race lead as they head now in towards the right-hander of Druids. They turn their way through and down the hill, but Harvey Deeth for now is looking comfortable. But De Silva almost challenges to the inside line there. He had a little bit of a faint look as they turn now in towards Graham Hill Bend. We've got yellow flags in towards Paddock, because there is a car which has stopped on the run up towards Druids on the inside, so that might again be cause for concern and may give us a safety car in these early stages. So a few of them not quite making it first to pass laps here, unfortunately. But yeah, the De Silva car has now got a different driver in from earlier, because we have the two drivers sharing that car. So we'll see if the De Silvas can go through into the lead. Harvey Deeth is not having any of this, is he? He's trying to weave his way across the circuit. Double wave yellows in towards Paddock Hill Bend, which means you can't overtake there. So that's a chance taken away for De Silva for now. But as soon as they get past that zone, they can then see the greens, and De Silva can try and challenge once again. It's either Rohith or Ashan in the car for this one. One of them did the first race, and then we have the second driver into the car. But definitely challenging the back of Harvey Deeth, who set the screens alight in the early race on lap number 2. So let's see at the end of this lap, can he get anything done? I don't think he will, because of those yellow flags. It's just going to kind of take that full lap of green flag away, which means you can't push for the entirety of it. So I wouldn't expect any quick times to come through in the next couple of laps, anything really to worry those of the earlier races. Again, De Silva tries to get along the start-finish line ahead, but of course as soon as he gets to the line he then has to back off, but not on this occasion, because the yellow flags have now gone. So it does mean we'll know they're back now, because we are going to have a safety car actually, and De Silva's down the inside line, but the yellow flags were out and Harvey Deeth does back off. But whether De Silva saw that, I'm not too sure, because the yellow flags were waving, and to be fair, De Silva has seen it yet, so he backs off and does allow Harvey Deeth to go through once again. It was quite tight actually, because they went through Paddock. As I said, yellow flags weren't out, and all of a sudden they got through past the flashing light midway through Paddock Hill Bend. De Silva was still trying to challenge, and probably wouldn't have seen the board until on the run up towards Druids, but he probably did know he was ahead before, and that's why he got the job done. So they redressed the situation. And the car we have unfortunately lost is the number 66 car of Lee Jones. So that has just trundled its way to the inside. I don't think there was any contact. It was just a case of Lee maybe running out of steam or some sort of mechanical issue. But whether it is, he has pulled off to the side, which means now he is no longer in this race. But again, should be an easy recovery of that car, as the trackside recovery team go out there to lend a helping hand. So what is a short race already does mean we're going to have less racing laps to go once we again get the green flag. But as it stands, it is Harvey Deeth that heads the field. Car number 60 ahead of the De Silvas in car number 44. Luckily it is silver, so the De Silvas in their half silver car. Third place then for number 18 is Matthew Howe, and then behind that we do see the car in fourth position of number 70, which is Fabio Lufarelli. And Fabio's had a bit of a strange day. He's had races where the car has faltered, and hopefully he can get to the end in this one, because with the help of a safety car, it might just save the engine, and it might just save the hot air being put through the car as much as it did in race number 1. Then behind the top 4 in 5th place we do have the 121 machine of what is meant to be Jamie Billingham, but I'm just wondering if we've had a driver change there, because it has, since race number 1, been showing a different driver, but I can now work out who that is. It's Adam Chamberlain in the 122 machine, but he is now in the 121 machine, so it was an addition to the programme, but now he is in that Jamie Billingham car, so he sits there in 5th place. 6th place is 132, which is Lewis Salmon. Behind in 7th place number 51 is Anton Trevette, and then we see 8th place number 77 Richard Morris, 9th place number 1 is Richard Higgins, and currently in 10th position number 65 is the second of the Deeths, which is Clive in his Austin Cooper S. So we now have the red flag, unfortunately, so just to allow a bit more time of racing for the fastest Mini in the world, because this is one of the highlight races of the weekend. We want to get as much time racing for the drivers as possible. One of the Deeths clan in the race joining his 2 experienced brothers, Harvey and Clive, so it's a brotherly affair for the Deeths. In terms of the car history, well, it's a beautiful and fast FIA Mini Cooper S that's kindly been lent to him this weekend. It's a lovely car that's owned by his brother Harvey, who's prepared and turned not only his but 3 other fantastic cars for this weekend. So very busy indeed is Harvey, making sure these cars get out there onto the track. A man who was just pipped to the post in the earlier race and was down to 3rd place in this one, Matthew Howe in the number 18 machine, also known as Ollie. He likes to be called Ollie, so from now on we'll call him Ollie rather than Matthew. His occupation is a vehicle technician, and in terms of his racing history, well, he's been racing now Mini derivatives for many years, probably about 25 years. He was in the late 90s when he got into all of this. Took part in the fastest Mini in the world race back in 2004 in the Pete Cruddington Marcos, and he won it on that occasion. Currently racing a 1380cc 5-port Mini in the Swinging 60s, which is run by the CSCC, and also competing in the Autograss Racing Championship as well, which is 450-yard off-road dirt oval, so completely different to what we are experiencing this weekend. He races a Mini pickup in that one, does Ollie Howe. Pete Cruddington invited him to race his Special K Mini that he just built, and this is its first event. So Ollie, hopefully you can look after it, and there's probably no real surprise that the tyres went off in that first race. He wasn't quite used to how quickly that car went through them, but doing a grand job nonetheless. Ollie is very fortunate that he has a collective group of people, including his family, with the same interests, who all work together to achieve the goals of competing. They would like to thank everyone involved with the team. Win, lose or draw, we all do it together, which is always a great ethos to have. And in terms of the car, well, originally a TDK space frame built by James Dunkley and raced in the 2019 event. It has been completely re-engineered and rebuilt over the last 5 years by Pete Cruddington, as we mentioned. It now sports a DY Engine Services built Honda K20 Type R and a sequential Quaife gearbox. The words on the boot lid sum it up. I haven't seen what those words are actually, but if we do get a look at the rear boot lid, then it sums the car up. Hopefully it's not too rude, but we'll see what it says on the back of Ollie Howe's machine as they head off now onto the formation lap once again. We were, as I said, expecting to see Bill Richards out, who's a local man. He's an engineer, has been racing now for, well, it would have been his 50th anniversary actually last year. Started racing back in 1974, but Bill had to withdraw from this meeting, but we were looking to see his lovely car out there, the very early John Maguire, originally saloon body with an Arden 8-point Mini, but that then changed to a Metro body that was more aerodynamic with a Cosworth BDH engine, but now it's a Mini Traveller body with a Ford Duratec engine. But as I said, Bill Richards not racing this weekend, which is a real shame because he has featured in many photos to do with mini racing. He's featured in magazines, he's featured on posters for this event as well, and is a regular in the saloons that we have here at Brands Hatch across the course of the year as well. So off we go once again. It's a warm-up lap, a reduced distance of 10 minutes, so we did have the first 3 laps as we said, but as we are a little bit tight on time today, we need to make sure we get everything in. So it's a 10-minute restart for the fastest Mini in the world, and it's once again with Harvey Deeth on pole position. It's the De Silvas now alongside, so we do go back not to an original grid, but the lap completed at the end of lap number 3. So it does mean now that Ollie Howe goes down to 3rd place, and Fabio Lufarelli is still there in 4th position. So we're a couple more light now, but we're still looking good and interested in this 10-minute race. But can Harvey Deeth take the victory? The De Silvas are having something to say about that. He's gone early, he knows he's under pressure, so off goes Harvey Deeth with the red lights go out now, and they head down towards Paddock Hill Bend. It's a little bit strung out actually as they make the dive off the edge of the cliff. They work their way in towards Paddock and up the other side, and it's Deeth ahead of De Silva, ahead of Howe. And has Fabio Lufarelli got a problem? Because that is a very slow Mini on the way towards Druids Corner. So I fear Fabio, it's the 3rd race in a row where this car is not on song in a race. So Fabio pulls to one side, and the majority of the field now have gone past through him, so not good news whatsoever. Up front though, Harvey Deeth already under pressure because De Silva is trying to get through, swings through the left of Surtees in towards the right of McLaren, and can De Silva get the job done? We know that car is quick in a straight line, but so is Harvey Deeth. But the question is, which one is the quickest as they work their way towards the line, and can we get a 49-second lap time out of this race? That will be absolutely spectacular this weekend. It would really put the icing on the cake, so to speak, as the top 3 head in towards Paddock. Good fight going on further down now. We've got number 51 machine, which is I think trying to make a move. Anton Trevette trying to get down the inside line of Richard Higgins, but that doesn't work because Richard Higgins in his Austin Mini goes round the outside and then all of a sudden just falters and slows. So was that a missed gear, or again another issue with that car? But it was very slow on the run through Paddock, and almost had into the back of it Anton Trevette with the Owens Fabrication Mini. But it looks good now as it works its way downhill, but that would have been a very scary moment for almost a stationary car ahead of Anton. But on his merry way he continues, now up into 7th position as they turn their way in towards Surtees once again. And just up the road ahead of them is the 132 machine of Lewis Salmon. First flying lap, 51.180 for Harvey Deeth, but behind De Silva goes quicker, 51.109. But we're not down to the quickest time just yet, which is at 50, isn't it? 50.2 from the earlier race. So let's see if we can try and beat that. 50.288 is what we're looking for. So still got a good, what is it, second or so to go. And just wondering if the track conditions have worsened compared to earlier, because the temperature has risen, and with that can just sometimes slow the lap times as well. But we'll have to wait and see. Fabio Lufarelli, as expected, into the pit lane, so he has unfortunately suffered for the 2nd time today in this race. And Harvey Deeth comes through. He's still got very close to Silva behind. The gap has shrunk once more. Have we got more quickest laps about to appear? No, both now down to the mid-51s, although De Silva was quicker. Already a bit of lapped traffic to deal with. I think that's number 5 machine they're going to come up onto first, which is Nigel Deeth. I don't think Nigel will help out his brother too much. I think he's just going to try and stay out of the way, mind his own business, and make sure he gets to the end of this one, possibly inside the top 10. He might be able to scrape in if there's any more problems for those up the road, but he works his way slowly down towards Graham Hill Bend as the fight further back between what's going to be Higgins and Trevette continues, and it looks like Richard Higgins has gone back ahead. Massive wheel arches on that car actually. That's quite impressive from Richard Higgins. So out of the corner of Druids he comes. Trevette still sits there in 8th position now behind, but for the lead it was half a second. Is the gap down once again between the two of them? Yes, it is, only fractionally on that occasion by a few thousandths of a second. But De Silva is looking really racy as we've got a yellow flag at Paddock Hill Bend. Someone else has gone for a bit of a spin, they are able to rejoin. Almost drove into the gravel trap on the other side of the circuit there, but they do get back on. They're trying to keep out the way of the leaders that were coming through. I think that's Andy Shaw actually that's gone round, number 33. So yeah, he rejoins. He had an earlier problem, didn't he, as well in the first race of the day. So not been without his problems either. Nice line's been taken now from the number 44 machine in second place. So De Silva, a nice run through Surtees. And that car ahead of him, of Harvey Deeth, continues to spit flames out the side, which is another wonderful trait that this car has. It gets a little bit wobbly onto the start-finish line, so the power it has in this Radical SR8 engine, which is under the bonnet, is truly remarkable in such a small, lightweight car. So Harvey Deeth pushes on, 52.3, so lap times are definitely falling away, whether that be, as I said, track conditions, or maybe the traffic is just not really helping them at the minute, so they're just having to be a little bit cautious on their way through, as Harvey Deeth now goes to the inside of what looks to be Tony Hunting in the number 2 machine. So Tony steps out of the way in the Morris Cooper, and we've got another retirement as well, number 132, Lewis Salmon in the Rover Cooper. He's now pulling in through the back door, so it's been a race of attrition so far with 5 minutes to go, so half of the race effectively now completed after the restart. As on towards the start-finish line comes Harvey Deeth. Is this a chance for De Silva to come through? He's got a good turn of speed, but Harvey Deeth just has that second burst which keeps him ahead, and if De Silva can't be later on the brakes, then there's going to be no way through. So we stay as we are, but the gap is literally nothing. There's a car length between them as they work their way through Paddock Hill Bend and back up to Druids for the 7th time of asking. Back into the 51s for the top 2 as well. 51.9 for Harvey Deeth in the lead, 51.8 for De Silva there in second position. Another slightly slower car to work their way through now at Graham Hill Bend, which I think again was Deeth, wasn't it, in the number 5 machine. And here possibly comes De Silva. No, he had a look out, didn't he? But it was only a faint look, and then managed to get back in because he wanted the preferred line into the corner to complete the lap. So looks like it's coming, doesn't it, De Silva? But is there going to be a chance? This is the big question we keep saying, but we'll have to wait and see. There's no real way through on that run across the line because there's another car to work their way through. We've also got a good scrap going on as well for the 121 machine. This is the Adam Chamberlain machine, which is having the fight with a Class C car, which is very unusual. That's Clive Deeth. So although Clive is in a completely different class with much less power, he's managing to stay inside the top 5 and not too far back at the minute from Adam Chamberlain. So that's good scrap for 4th place in towards McLaren and Clearways. Ollie Howe still runs 3rd. He is a long way up the road because he's just working his way now onto the Cooper Straight, about 5 or 6 seconds behind the race leaders. I think Andy Shaw's got another issue. That car is weaving across the start-finish line. That was the one that had some smoke earlier on. We thought it might have a tyre which was rubbing on the bodywork. So Andy Shaw is down in 10th place, but with another car which is starting to ail. Behind the number 65 machine at the minute, Clive Deeth, we do have potentially Richard Higgins starting to catch up. What was his lap time? 56.1. So yeah, he was over a second quicker, and he is 3.6 seconds adrift. So Higgins might have a chance of trying to challenge here for 5th place, but he's only got 2 or so minutes to go. But whether he's got the charge in that car, we'll have to wait and see. We know it had a bit of a falter earlier on, didn't it, through Paddock Hill Bend, where the engine or a gear was missed, but he's now definitely pulled his way far from Anton Trevette in the number 51 car. And De Silva has now, has he got through on Harvey Deeth? No, Harvey Deeth's gone, isn't he? He's bolted up the road. So Harvey Deeth, while we've been looking at the other classes and the other runners, Harvey Deeth goes through, and he is going to be 4.7 seconds clear. That was a very slow lap for De Silva, so there was definitely a problem for the 2nd place car. We are still not getting anywhere near the earlier lap time here, so just wondering if all the drivers have turned things down and just trying to save the car as best as possible. Oh, in fact, De Silva's got a problem because he waves through pretty much Ollie Howe. So through goes Ollie in the number 18 machine, and De Silva, after a fantastic first part of this race, is now unfortunately a little bit slow on the back straight. Can he kind of just manage it to the end? Could he just about pick up a podium? I've got, of course, a good gap over the rest of the field, but it's all about what damage this might be doing to the number 44 machine. So Ollie Howe will inherit 2nd position. Harvey Deeth comes through with 60 seconds plus 20, that's 80 seconds, remaining on the clock. So they'll go through for the penultimate lap. And De Silva, it almost looks like it's run out of fuel, but no, there's now some smoke coming from the left front. So there is something not right with that car. Again, it's either bodywork rubbing or something is about to fail, because it kind of sporadically comes and goes. So De Silva's going to try and limp round. He's got this lap and one more to do if he can. I think he's still just about remain on the podium, because we still haven't had Adam Chamberlain through. He's just turning his way now in towards Surtees and McLaren. That is the orange Mini, the 121 machine, and right with him now is going to be the 65 machine. So that's going to be Clive Death, who's about to be latched by Harvey Death on the outside. So they give each other plenty of room. They're almost like brothers, those two, in terms of cars. They are actually brothers in real life, but the cars are almost identical. One's has got a massive engine and a huge rear wing, but in terms of colour and the livery, they are almost identical. So through goes Harvey Death now onto the last lap, past and up to Lappery in terms of 4th position. He's going to get another one, I think, before the end of the race as well, and can, as we mentioned, the number 65 machine of Clive Death, get himself higher up the order in what, as I say, is a Class C car. He's going to win the class by miles by the looks of it, but it'd be nice to take one more place away from Adam Chamberlain if he can do so. But for now, Harvey Death on his way round. It's been an absolutely perfect day for him. It was a win in race number 1. It's going to be a win in race number 2. It's not going to be the fastest lap this time round, but it's still going to be a new race record in fastest Mini of the world at Brands Hatch for 2024 is won again by Harvey Death. He crosses the line to take the victory over Ollie Howe, who's just about to turn his way now on towards the Bradman Straight for the last time. He'll come through and didn't quite have the pace to live with Harvey on this occasion, and he wasn't able to get ahead of him whatsoever. So 12.3 seconds is the gap. 3rd place, will it go to the De Silvas? Because have they managed to carry on, or are they still trundling round even slower, or has that car pulled off the circuit? Well, I can't actually see it. Oh, there it is, just going in towards 30s now. So I think De Silva will make it, and it will be in 3rd place. Quite bizarrely, because his lap times have been down in the 1 minute 12s, which are around about 20 so seconds off what he should be doing. So he's going to limp it all the way to the flag, and it will still finish in 3rd place. So great credit to this car and the driver, and De Silva will come through now to be the last car on the lead lap. Well done, that man. So across the line goes De Silva. 3rd place, 58.8 seconds back from Harvey Death as the race winner. 4th place then to number 121, already taking the checker flag for Adam Chamberlain. 65 in 5th place, that's going to be the car of Clive Death, and then behind that we had number 1 Richard Higgins. 7th place, number 51 Anton Trevette. 8th place, number 149 was the car of Gary Warburton, and then behind that we had Tony Hunting and another man who also made it to the checker flag, Andy Shaw, in his Mini Cooper S there. So well done to him after his problems, what he looked to have. So Harvey Death, your winner by 12.5 seconds. Matthew Howe 2nd, with De Silvas in 3rd. Adam Chamberlain, Clive Death, Richard Higgins, Anton Trevette and Gary Warburton the top 8, with Tony Hunting, Andy Shaw and Nigel Death completing the runners in that 2nd fastest Mini in the world race. Class winners, well, Class A went the way of Harvey Death. Class B went the way of the number 1 machine of Richard Higgins. Class C, and one of the drives of the race, I think, that is going to go the way of Clive Death. So well done to him. And your Class D victor is going to be the 149 machine of Gary Warburton in the Rover Mini. So they are your class winners and also your top 10 overall. And that concludes this year's fastest Mini in the world, which we do hope will be back in the same form for next year, and we can see if they can go even better. And maybe we might be able to, after a year of kind of looking after those cars, fine-tuning them even further, could we possibly get down to the 49s at next year's event? It'll be good if we can, but there's going to be a lot of hard work to do from all of those drivers.